The strange thing about ambition is this. From the outside, it can look like hope. From the inside, it can feel like panic. You work harder, plan better, push further, and yet the more you try not to fall behind, the less alive your progress begins to feel. What should have felt meaningful starts to feel defensive, not like a life you are building, but like a gap you are desperately trying to close. And that is where success quietly stops being a direction and becomes a form of fear. At first, that fear hardly looks dangerous. It can pass for discipline, for responsibility, for maturity. It sounds like a small inner correction every time you see someone else moving ahead, a slight tightening in your chest when a friend gets promoted, a flicker of unease when someone your age seems to have found a clearer path, a steadier rhythm, a more convincing version of adulthood than the one you are still trying to piece together. Nothing dramatic happens. You still wake up, answer messages, show up to work, keep your promises, do what needs to be done. From the outside, your life may even look pretty functional, but underneath it all, a private scoreboard is already switched on. And it is no longer measuring your days by meaning, curiosity, or depth. It is measuring distance, how far other people have gone, how far behind you might be, how much time you have left before the gap starts to feel impossible to ignore. That is why this fear slips in so quietly. It shows up in ordinary moments, in the first few seconds after waking, when your hand reaches for your phone before your mind has even fully entered the day. Before you have asked how you feel, you have already seen where someone else appears to be. Someone is learning faster. Someone is earning more. Someone is more organized, more attractive, more traveled, more balanced, more composed. Someone looks tired in a beautiful way, successful in a calm way, productive in a way that still somehow looks elegant. And within a few minutes before your own morning has truly started, your self-worth has already been dragged into comparison. So you tell yourself to get serious, be sharper, be faster, waste less time, make a better plan, build more discipline, use your hours properly. None of that sounds foolish. In fact, a lot of it sounds admirable. The trouble begins when those thoughts are no longer rooted in something you genuinely care about, but in the dread of becoming irrelevant. Then effort is no longer guided by desire. It is driven by alarm. You are not moving toward a life that feels true. You are moving away from the possibility of seeming lesser. And once that shift happens, life starts to change texture. Everything becomes measurable. Every hour has to justify itself. Every decision carries pressure. Rest becomes something that has to earn permission. Joy becomes something that has to prove its usefulness. Even the things that once helped you feel human begin to get audited. You read but part of you wonders whether it is the right kind of reading. You meet a friend, but another part of you asks whether that time could have been spent more strategically. You sleep, but only because sleep might improve performance tomorrow. Little by little, you stop optimizing your schedule and start optimizing your existence. That is what makes the fear of falling behind so exhausting. It does not just ask you to work, it asks you to constantly monitor where you stand. It turns your attention sideways. You may be moving forward in real terms, but internally you remain unconvinced, because your reference point is never your own path. It is someone else's highlight reel, someone else's timing, someone else's visible momentum. So there are people who have achieved a great deal and still feel late. People who have grown enormously and still feel small. People who are objectively moving forward, yet subjectively feel stuck, because every gain is immediately placed next to a higher standard. In that kind of life, progress struggles to register. The finish line behaves like a cruel little ghost. The closer you get, the farther away it seems. This becomes even more intense in places where achievement is treated as the cleanest proof of value. In environments shaped by competition, performance, image, and visible milestones, success does not remain a goal. It becomes a language, a way of signaling that you are capable, worthy, respectable, safe. You learn that language early, through grades, rankings, entrance exams, titles, salaries, housing, relationship status, productivity, and the subtle hierarchy of who seems to be handling life better. At first, these are just facts about the world, but facts can harden into beliefs. And one of the most dangerous beliefs is this: the person who moves faster matters more. The human mind is naturally built to compare. That part is not a flaw. Comparison has always helped people understand where they stand within a group, whether they are secure, whether they belong, whether they are at risk of being left out. In that sense, comparison is ancient. At one time, it helped us survive. But modern life has turned it into something relentless. We are no longer comparing ourselves only to the people around us. We compare ourselves to endless curated fragments of thousands of lives. We compare our full internal weather to someone else's edited forecast. We compare our confusion to their announcement, our process to their outcome, our private exhaustion to their public composure. Under those conditions, feeling inadequate becomes almost absurdly easy. Not necessarily because we are failing more than before, but because we are exposed to more targets than any nervous system was ever meant to carry. Still, the deepest wound is not comparison by itself. Comparison becomes truly corrosive when it fuses with self-worth, when success no longer represents something you would like to build, but evidence that you deserve to take up space. At that point, failure becomes heavier than failure. It starts to feel like revelation. A delay becomes a verdict. A missed opportunity becomes a judgment on your potential. Someone else's good news becomes a mirror that seems to ask what is wrong with you. And because that feeling is so hard to bear, you push harder. Not always because you are inspired, often because you are trying to outrun shame. That is why some of the most driven people are not driven by vision alone. They are driven by the terror of becoming ordinary in a world that seems to reward visibility. They do not just want to do well. They need achievement to quiet an inner accusation. The problem, of course, is that achievement can only quiet that accusation for a little while. If your self-respect depends on outcomes, then your peace will always be fragile. Today, you feel solid because something went well. Tomorrow, someone else does better, or you slow down, or life gets messy and the whole structure starts trembling again. Success stops feeling like joy. It becomes pain relief, a short-term anesthetic for a much older insecurity. This is why people can reach a milestone they once longed for and still feel strangely empty. Not because the milestone means nothing, but because it was secretly asked to do too much. It was asked to answer a question that no promotion, degree, salary, or title can answer for long. Am I enough now? That is too heavy a job for any achievement. No external marker can carry the full weight of your right to exist with dignity. When we force it to, we make ourselves dependent on an unstable supply. We need one more result, one more sign, one more confirmation that we have not slipped beneath some invisible line. So the real question is not whether effort is bad. It is where effort is coming from. Is it coming from devotion, curiosity, craftsmanship, responsibility, love, a real desire to build something that matters to you? Or is it coming from the fear of being left behind, overlooked, outpaced, quietly downgraded in the eyes of others, and even worse, in your own eyes? From the outside, those two lives can look almost identical. The same early mornings, the same late nights, the same ambition, but inwardly they are worlds apart. One kind of effort can tire you while still leaving you intact. The other can make you productive while slowly separating you from yourself. This is where slowing down is often misunderstood. Slowing down does not necessarily mean giving up. It may simply mean reclaiming the right to examine the road. Some goals are truly yours. Others were inherited from panic, borrowed from culture, copied from peers, or absorbed from an atmosphere that treats human value like a ranking system. A glittering milestone on paper may still cost too much if by the time you reach it, you no longer know how to feel present in your own life. If your body is constantly braced, your mind cannot rest, your joy has become procedural, and your relationships feel more like interruptions than nourishment, the answer may not be that you need to try harder. The answer may be that you have been living inside a measuring system that was never built for your whole humanity. Sometimes the first step out of this pattern is not doing more. It is noticing what keeps pulling you back in, the reflex to check where everyone else is, the tension that rises when someone shares good news, the guilt that appears the moment you pause, the belief that if you stop moving for even a second, you will disappear. Once you can name those forces, they stop feeling like fate. They become something you can relate to more consciously. Then the work becomes gentler, but also more honest. You may need fewer comparisons at the beginning of the day. You may need goals that fit your nervous system, not just your fear. You may need to practice recognizing progress before immediately placing it under a harsher light. You may need to ask a very unfashionable question. What would still matter to me if nobody were watching? And if the pressure has become so constant that it is affecting your sleep, concentration, health, or ability to function, reaching out for professional support or to someone you trust is not weakness. It is a sane refusal to let chronic inner pressure run your life unchecked. The truth is, almost everyone looks sideways sometimes. Almost everyone feels unsettled when others seem to be moving faster. In a world built on exposure and acceleration, comparison is hardly a personal failure. It is part of the weather. But there is an important difference between looking at others for perspective and using them as evidence against yourself. You can admire another person's path without turning it into a sentence against your own. You can want more for your life without using self-contempt as fuel. You can be ambitious, deeply ambitious, without making fear your manager. Maybe maturity is not just learning how to run harder. Maybe it is learning which pace is actually yours, which cost is too high, and which version of success still leaves room for a human being to live inside it. Because some lives look impressive from a distance and feel unbearable up close. And some lives do not glitter on command, yet they hold something rarer. Enough space for a person to breathe without constantly proving the right to be here. Maybe the most frightening thing is not being slower than someone else for a few years. Maybe the more frightening thing is spending those years running from inferiority until you can no longer remember where you wanted to go in the first place. Success always asks for something, but it is a brutal bargain if the price is waking up every morning and returning to a race your heart never truly chose. And maybe peace is not the day you finally outrun everyone around you. Maybe it is the day you keep moving, keep growing, keep building. But stop using your whole life to prove that you are not behind.